Your dad went on to such a long, legendary career as the athletic director here. How important was sports in your household? That's probably a pretty dumb question, but that
was the promised first question. I love that one.
hey, we try to stick to the script.
Yeah, it was the first two kids. I think were probably disappointments, or whatever you might phrase it in those terms, and then along came Tom, and Tom was the athlete, and he produced athletes, and after he got married, and our little sister Mary went off to, ended up, I think, in Texas, in probably being one of the best online skaters in America, working for, or playing for, or skating for a Texas team. So, but let me tell you just one thing about tonight, if I may. I get teary even though I sit next to the Abbot and all the rest of that sort of thing. Listening to the presentations tonight, because, and this is the best summary of some of the things that are important about his place and with these people, is that my dad would have been so proud to have a place anywhere in this meeting tonight, and just to listen to the people and meet the people that he dreamed would become St. John's. And that's the way I was raised up. I wasn't the great athlete, and all the rest of that sort of thing. It is what we've heard about from all of these people here tonight, what we all who came with them understand about them, is special, in their lives, for whatever reason, award or no award. He'd cry. He'd literally cry, because it wasn't that way at one time at St. John's. And in fact, he got turned down by the Abbot in 1928 when he graduated, and he was like the version of a little All-American football player at the time and all the rest, that sort of thing. And other people said he should be coaching here, but the Abbot said, we already have a coach. We don't need two coaches, meaning for everything that went on in the place. So he had that opportunity to get started here, and anything else that we talk about my father in the presence of my son, David, and his son, David, who is a junior here at St. John, says that you reflect whatever the dreams my father and my mother and my family and all the people that got raised up here in St. John's and Collegeville and St. John the Baptist grade school and all that sort of thing, wanted St. John's to be and to represent. You.
Thank you. That's an incredible sentiment. That we heard the story about the winning the Durenberger Trophy by creating a swimming team, creating sports opportunities for these student athletes. Did he talk about that with you, how important that was?
Yeah, the opportunity that everyone has been given in life is to be the best that they can be, in whatever way that may be. And just sitting in this building, one summer I spent just painting the roof of this place.
Looks good, man.
Yeah, exactly. I tell you all kinds of. I can tell you exactly where Mrs. Gus Young sat, and I can go through all these stories about this place. But the reality is that he wished for everyone who was part of this institution to have at least the opportunity, and that meant you have to staff for it, and you have to do all the kinds of things that most of these people here understand are important.
Well, the other thing that I guess was important to him, from what I've heard and what I've read, is the Alumni Association, getting that going and creating, I think, what everybody enjoys about St. John's. They come back here, like was said earlier tonight, it's home, and that's probably a big reason why.
Yeah, I love telling the story that my dad, it's a short one, my dad got off the bus from Sueur. He was the first kid from Sueur ever to go to college, but he was 6'4.5", and so he ended up playing center in both football and basketball. But when he got off the bus out on the old Highway 52 to walk into the campus, the guy behind him was a fellow from Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. His name was Fred Hughes. And those two people walked in together for a mile and became friends for life. And my father believed that was possible, because St. John's was St. John's. It's a unique institution providing opportunities for for relationships. So they created the Alumni Association. They worked it. I can still remember licking stamps, looking up addresses, and the one I remember the best is the 1948 Republican endorsing convention, national convention, and one of the candidates was Harold Stassen. And so while I was looking up addresses or licking stamps or whatever it was, my mother and father were glued to the radio to see how Harold Stassen was doing in the endorsing convention.
Service, that was probably a big part. He wanted St. John's to be what it's turned into today, and very proud of what we're doing tonight. But he must have passed some of that along to you.
To me?
Yeah. To you.
I mean, it's just absolutely everything. I mean, everything in my life, from the Boy Scouts that he tried to start here, Scout Pack 32 and so forth. This orientation around service to others is the best work of life, was just instilled in all of us kids, whether we became very athletic or not or whatever it was. It's a spirit that drove all of us to do the things that we did with our life. And in my case, mine was more public because I had some choices that other people don't often have. But this whole notion that we talk about today of servant leadership, he practiced that just automatically. He thought that was his job to teach that to the people who were students here, because they might not be getting it at home or in their own communities, but they had a responsibility in those communities when they left St. John's. And my dad wanted that to be a St. John's tradition.
I guess maybe he created paying it forward.
There what?
Created paying it forward, yeah. Teaching people and paying it forward and hoping that this would turn out the way it had. Well, congratulations and thank you. Any closing comments about your dad?
Great, yeah, thank you very much. Today was an exceptional time in so many of our lives, and the world in which we live in today is not a pleasant world. We actually know too much about it from too many sources, some of which are bought and paid for by God knows whom, small g God or whatever. And it's a hard place to live in. It's a hard place to be in service, except at the level that you just saw here, just in the last hour or so. These are the men in the case of St. John's and the women who are born to service through their success at teamwork or individual efforts in sports. And that was always my dad's belief.
Thank you, Dave.
You're welcome. Thank you.